Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Marathon Journey v6.00, where I use the Jeff Galloway Run, Walk, Run marathon training program aboard the beautiful Disney Wonder. Right now we are in Cartagena, Colombia, in port right now, and had a great time on shore and came back to a ship that is pretty much empty, enjoying it because I think the onboard time is like 5:30, 5:45 this evening. So it's always great when all the people leave and go on their shore excursions and we get to stay. Now, that being said, if you've seen some of my other videos when we have been aboard the Disney Wonder, it is a little bit of a challenge to run. Now, on the longer cruises, like I enjoy, Panama Canal, for instance, where you're 14 nights aboard the Disney Wonder, there is a lot less port time. So you have a lot more sea days, and it's much easier to run on sea days because they don't close off the running track due to port activity when they have mooring lines going out and things. So you have a continuous loop around the ship. On the Disney Wonder, 1/3 of a mile. So 3 laps of the ship equals a mile. That's the way you have to keep track of it, because if you use your GPS, you'll set Olympic and world records because your speed is added to the ship speed, which means you go really fast. So that doesn't happen. So you have to count your laps. Well, like this morning, they were already closing parts of the deck off for port operations. And today we had a short run because we have 3 miles. We had the 11-mile last week. So that was a little easier, and we planned it that way. That was something that we did. We changed the schedule around so that we wouldn't have a long run. We had a long run right before we left. We'll have a long run again when we get back. But while we're here on board ship for a couple of weeks, we only have a 3-mile run, and we did a little more than 3. The other thing is that when you're running, it looks like a teak deck, and it is teak decking. It is not in the least wood, because it is steel underneath that teak, and so it has no give whatsoever. And the rolling of the ocean, no matter how slight, is not a completely stable platform. And after you've been on ship for a week and a half, we're going on 2 weeks that we'll be here, man, your legs are constantly having to make little micro adjustments with every step. Even if you're standing still, you're having to balance yourself because the ship is always slightly moving, sometimes a little more than slightly, but it's always, even here in port, you can feel the little bit of movement of the ship. So that wears your legs out. And so making those longer runs is really difficult aboard ship because they're always just a little bit depleted. So that's why we try to make those runs as short as possible when we're on ship. But the weekday runs we still get up and do. The other thing, when we're here in the more tropical climates, we're here in South America, so the humidity is extreme. So make sure you take that into account when you go out and run. It's always hot. It doesn't matter when you run. You could get up at 3 in the morning while the ship is underway and everyone's in bed and run. It would still be steaming because that's where we are, and that's the places that we go. So if you do that, make sure that you drink lots of water, stay hydrated, and even the ship's crew reminds you of that because they live on the ship and they have to go about their business and stay in shape, and most of them go out and have to exercise. So if you have any questions, ask one of the crew members what they do for exercise. Some of them don't as much, obviously, but you'll be able to pick out the ones that do, especially officers, and ask them what they do to make it a little bit easier transitioning from running on land to running aboard ship. And while we've been here, we have been using the Garmin Fenix 3 HR and having great luck with it, and it's a good thing because I forgot to pack my heart rate strap. And so having the heart rate built in is wonderful. I don't have the balance, stance, ground contact time, those kinds of things, but you know what? really doesn't matter aboard ship. So I lucked out there. So have my heart rate, have most of the metrics that you normally worry about. So that was wonderful. I also forgot my Gym Boss, of all things, but I do have the Gym Boss app on my iPod. So instead of listening to music, I turn the Gym Boss app on and use that in order to do my run, walk, run ratios. So always have a plan B, and in this case I needed a plan B and a plan C, but we figured out how to do it and get it done. Well, we're on, I think, day 9 of 15 days, 14 nights. So we'll be getting back to land here, unfortunately, fairly shortly. We're going to be in Disney World for a short time, and then we'll be heading back home for the Yosemite half marathon. So we have one more long run before the Yosemite. And that'll be interesting because I know we've packed on a few pounds while we've been here. The average on a cruise is 1 to 1.5 pounds per day on a Disney cruise. They feed you that well and the food is that good. So hopefully we won't be dragging as much around, but there will be a slight handicap for everyone, not only from my normal speed, but having to carry around some extra handicap weight on top of it. How about you? What are you doing? Are you getting out there and getting it done? I'm aboard ship. I've been aboard ship for about 9 days, and we still managed to get in our weekday training runs and our weekend maintenance run and make sure that we stuck with our training. And in order to do that, we shifted things around to get here. But we made sure we not only got here, but we stuck with our training. But you'll never be able to stick with your training unless you open up that door, put one foot in front of the other. And if you do that, I'll be seeing you aboard ship or out here on the road.